Hey guys, we'll wait just another couple minutes for people to get on.
Not exactly.
Hey, how are you?
Hey guys, we'll wait a couple more minutes. We're gonna get started. Just waiting for some of the other guys to jump on.
How's the leg one?
Oh, it's feeling a lot more better. Today I did a run for like 2 miles and it didn't hurt too much, to be honest.
Good.
Yeah, getting better. Little by little, but yeah, getting better.
Okay. Well, that matters.
All right. Cool guys, we'll wait another little bit. Cool. All right, so let's get rolling. All right, so guys, first of all, thank you all for being here and being here on time. I really appreciate it. Thank you for spending time here. Just make sure that you guys, I personally like to have meetings where people are on the call and focused and engaged. So if you can turn on your cams, please, that would be appreciated. That way we can move forward. So we'll wait just another minute. And if you can't turn on your cam for a certain reason, send me a message here. Cool. How can I see you guys here? I've never had a Google Meet with this many people, so just make sure your cam's on, guys. You can keep your mics on mute. There will be times I'll ask you guys to participate in the dialogue. So we could go ahead and keep our mics muted for now, okay? So I'm going to share a little presentation. Today might be a little bit dry, if you will. It'll kind of just be some new company basics that we're going to go through just to make sure we're all on board, but we'll just jump right in. So give me 1 second. I'm going to share my screen so we can get rolling. And again, if your camera's not on, please go ahead and turn it on. All right. All right, guys, just give me a thumbs up if you could see the little screen presentation. Awesome. Okay, perfect. So today we're just going to be covering some new updates. So we have some new staff. Some of you guys are probably seeing people you don't know. We're going to talk about new compensation structure, coach gear, some coaching positions that are updating. and also updates with actual training. Okay, so then we'll get into like the main point of today, which is just talking about our updated vision, mission vision, and kind of our approach going forward. I want us to all be under the same type of mindset and philosophy. So it's going to be more philosophy type stuff. But what I would say is when we get to that point of the call, just have a little notes or notebook handy to just take some notes. At the end, we'll do a little short Kahoot quiz just to see who was paying attention. All right, so we'll get to that in just a second, but let's keep it moving. So before we jump in, I just want to let you guys know like why I'm hosting this, why you guys are here. So unfortunately, I haven't done, in my opinion, a great job of training you guys, of aligning everyone as a group and systemizing us. So my goal heading forward, starting today, is to make sure that doesn't happen. And the reason I say that is as of last summer, 2023, those who are here know that it was a very big summer. It was our biggest season. And while that's all great, unfortunately, since that point, the retention has gone down, right? And the program has slipped, okay? Before that point, everything that was being done was me, right? And so I haven't been able to scale this past myself to the point where I know it can be, So that's why I'm here today, to help start to expand this beyond me, to get your guys' help. And for those that are serious and want to be here and want to grow this thing, we're going to talk about what those advancement opportunities look like as we go. Okay, so we're going to learn from last year's mistakes. All right, moving forward, starting in June, Monday evenings, and we could take a tally on this, and actually we should do that. But Monday evenings at 6:30 p.m. my goal is to have a coach training session online for the most part. And then during the week, you guys will start applying some of these things we'll talk about in the trainings with your actual kids in sessions. So some of these things today is not going to be any of that, no application. Today's just going to be philosophy and why I do what I do and how we've gotten here, right? So today, don't worry about that part. But as we go, the goal is I'm going to give you guys tools, tactics, things that you're going to use on field with your kids. So that way we're all aligned with how sessions are run. Because the goal is that no matter what coach a player gets in our program, their experience should be the same, right? It should be of a high quality each and every single time. And that's not happening right now, okay? So that's why we're here. All right, let's move it along. Just a couple logistical things. Actually, before that, in the chat, guys, just type Mondays at 6:30. Let me know if June, there's 4 Mondays, starting next week, Monday 6:30, if you can be on Google Meet. These will be paid trainings, okay, just to be 100% clear with that. So type in, I just want to make sure we have the availability, because I need the commitment from you guys, because I could have all the training in the world, but if you guys can't commit, I can't do it. So in the chat, just type Mondays, just type a yes or a no. Just type yes or no. All right, so Monday 6:30, go ahead and type yes or no. And then we're going to get into some more stuff. So again, type in the chat Mondays, yes or no.
How many Mondays are going to be in the sequence?
Say that again.
How many Mondays are going to be?
It's going to be 4 weeks, all of June. All of June, okay? And then from there, we'll iterate the training process. This is the first time I'm actually hosting training, doing training. So this will be iterative, right? And a lot of things will change. So, but the plan is, at least for June, let's stick to that and we'll go from there. All right. Next week, also our summer season is starts June 3rd. All right, we have a mini summer season, which is basically cutting out June. And that's just July and August for 6 weeks. So if you have anyone that talks to you about the mini season or the mini summer season, that's what that is. It's just the 6 weeks in July and August. Okay, July 16th to August 23rd. And we have 2 off weeks in July. The beginning of July, those first 2 weeks were off. All right, so note your calendars. This changed a bit. It used to be the last week of June and the first week of July. We slid that down a little bit for this year. So just keep note of that. Okay. All right, cool. Let's keep it moving. We'll do that later. All right, updates. So we have some new staff on here with us. So virtually, we added some virtual office staff. All right, so this is for office related purposes, but it's good for coaches to be aware. So we have Jen on here, who is going to be our social media manager. She just started last week. So we just started getting some things flowing, but she's going to be helping us out with a lot of the social media stuff. So we're going to be looking to grow our organic channels. So a lot of Instagram, a lot of Facebook, and just get our stuff more out there, right? Because that's something that has fallen off on my end. I used to be a lot more active, and I just don't have the time. So I have Jen, fortunately, to kind of help me out with that. We also have Marlon here. Marlon is going to be an administrative assistant. So he's going to be helping me a lot with a lot of the back office type of stuff going on. And Marlon, this is actually his first day right now. So if everyone could just welcome Marlon and Jen, just a little message in the chat when we put a little welcome, Marlon and Jen. That would be nice, just a little chat there. They are both based virtually. So they're both based in the Philippines, which is right now 6:40 in the morning over there. So they're very committed. Okay. So thank you, Marlon and Jen, for being here. And thank you, Jen, for turning the camera on there. Okay. So on the coaching staff side, we've also added 2 staff coaches. All right. So we've added Juan, who some of you have already met. He's on the goalkeeper staff. And then we also added Rafa Abreu, which some of you also met within the past couple of weeks. All right. So those guys are added to the coaching staff. Cool. Let's keep it moving. All right. So I want to talk about compensation structure. This is going to be a big change for everyone here. So previously we used to do by the hour. By the hour payments are going to not be a thing. All right. We're now changing to a by the session approach. All right. Why are we doing that? All right. There's a couple different roles that happen within most of our training sessions. There's setup, right? We got to set up our sessions. There's the actual technical coaching time that you're with your kids and teaching the session that you designed. And then there's the street coaching session as well. And those are all 3 different types of things. And so what kind of happened is there's basically 3 types of rates. You're not going to have 3 different coaching rates. I'm going to talk about that in a second. But that's why we're going by the session. We're no longer going by the hour. Now, this change isn't effective yet. It is coming. In the month of June, I'm going to actually sit down one-on-one with each of you, each of my staff coaches, to talk about your compensation. Okay. So we'll talk about that more as we go into the month. We'll set up a meeting plan with you guys. We'll probably do an online thing. But look out for that coming up in June. All right. I'll probably post in the group about how you can schedule a call with me for that. There's going to be 2 different session types that you get paid for, and this applies to goalkeepers as well and everybody. All right, so there's basically a fundamentals or tiny session, and then there's an academy-based session. All right, the difference is basically the street session. Right, so I'll go into that a little bit more. So instead of having 3 different rates, you're going to have a blended multiple of your coach rate. So everyone here is going to have their own coach rate, right, that we're going to discuss in June. Once you have your coach rate, depending on which session you're running a fundamental session or an academy session, you're going to get a multiple of your coach rate. So for a fundamental session, you're going to get 1.67 times your coach rate. For an academy session, you're going to get 2.33 times your coach rate. Okay. And as I just said, coaching rates are changing. We're going to talk about that in June. Okay. The idea is to have this new structure down in place by July. All right. So June will take the time to do that. I'm going to pause there for any questions because I know compensation is a big deal. So any questions with that?
Why is the fundamentals less than the academy? I'd say fundamentals is more work.
It's a great question, Bruno. So the fundamentals does have a higher percentage of coach rate as compared to an academy session. But an academy session has the whole extra hour of street soccer. So the goal is that even goalkeeper coaches should be coaching during the street soccer session like we were doing towards the beginning. But for that second hour of training, it's more time, so there has to be more compensation, but it's not as intensive as maybe doing a full technical part of the session. So there's just a little bit of a higher difference for that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, cool.
So you're basically compensating for the additional
I
hours.
also have something.
Yeah, go ahead, Drew.
There are some fundamental kids who do play street, so is that taken note of as well?
Yeah, good question. So the idea would be going forward, we're going to have to structure exactly what coaches are going to be doing what sessions, right? So right now it's a little bit like, oh, I'm doing my tinies or my fundamentals, but I'm also staying for street. That's not going to always be the case. If it is, if you are staying for street as well, that'll be communicated, but you'll be getting your academy rate, even though you're running a fundamental session. Does that make sense? Okay, cool. And I could dive into deep how I came up with that multiple if you guys want to, but I don't feel it's necessary unless you guys really want to. And you could talk about that in your one-on-one. All right. All right, cool. Any other questions before I move on? Good.
So yeah, so it's
Sure.
whatever the amount. Sorry, it's whatever the amount for academy you get times 2.33.
Yeah, so you'll have a coach rate. So coach
Right.
will have his rate. Hey, this is your coach rate. This is what we agreed to. The idea is coach rates are going to go up, right? You'll have your coach rate. Whatever that coach rate is, if you're running a fundamental session, you just multiply 1.67 times that coach rate. Running an academy session, you multiply by 2.33 to compensate for that additional time for the street session.
I'm a little confused.
So if you're running a fundamental session, like let's say you're just going on a Thursday and you're running a fundamental session and then that's it, you're going home.
Mhm.
You take your coach rate, say it's $50. That's your coach rate, whatever it is. You're
Uh-huh.
going to take that, multiply it by 1.67.
Okay.
That'll be what you get for that fundamental session.
Why would it be? I know that Bruno just asked that question, but why would it be different compared to the academy if it's the same amount of time? Is it because you're structuring the academy session different from the fundamentals and it's supposed to be lighter than the fundamentals? Or
So the academy session is longer.
okay,
So the academy session is longer because it has that extra time.
street soccer.
Yeah. And maybe it'll clear up when I talk about this. So give me a second. Session length. So this might help clear it up a little bit. So session length times are changing a little bit as well. All right. We're basically extending training times. All right. All technical training hours are going to be an hour and 15 minutes going forward. Hour and 15 minutes, no matter which one you're doing. The difference is Academy has the extra street session. It's still going to be that hour. Fundamentals or Tiny does not have that extra hour. Okay, as always, coaches will be 30 minutes early. It's going to be the expectation. So before, I was paying a $20 preparation fee for you guys being there for lead coaches. That's just going away. That's built into the multiple. So it's just, you get, if you run an academy session, you get this amount. If you run a fundamental session, you get this amount. All right. And if you want to, here, I'll go back to the setup. So basically how it's going to work is there was 3 different rates that you get. So you got a setup rate, which is a percentage of your coach rate. Then you get your full coach rate for the technical coaching time. And then you also get a percentage for the street coaching time. So I did all the math, I blended it all up. And again, I could show you guys that if you want. And that's how I came up with these multiples. Okay. So I know that's kind of confusing, but basically you're getting paid by this session. Okay. Any other questions with that? Okay. I could dive deeper into that if you guys have questions. Message me, let me know. Be like, I don't get it. Totally cool. It's new, it's different, and maybe it requires a little more time, and that's fine. I'm willing to spend that time with you guys. But for the sake of today, I'll just keep it moving for now. Okay. But if you have questions, I'm not closing the door on it. Please reach out to me. All right. Cool. So we're going to talk about coach advancement. So previously we just had assistant coaches, lead coaches. That's changing moving forward along with this change in compensation structure. We're going to have 5 different levels of coaches. We're going to have junior assistant coaches. We're going to have an assistant coach, junior lead coaches, and senior lead coaches. All right. So these 2 levels, those first 2 that you see, those are assistant levels. There's 2 levels of assistants, and then 3 levels of leads. Okay. And that'll be used as part of your compensation, right, to get promotion, but then also as part of the responsibilities. So I don't want to get too deep into it, but right, assistants will basically assist any lead. They'll have no direct athlete reports. They're not responsible for any direct athletes. They're just there to assist in the session with the lead coach. That's a junior assistant. An assistant coach is there to also assist the lead, but they may be assigned certain direct reports. They may have up to 4 athletes, 4 field players, or goalkeepers. They may have up to 1 athlete. Okay, but they're still under lead coach's direction. A junior lead, that's when you flip to designing your own sessions and you're leading your own group. Okay, and then you have, that's a junior lead, and then you have a lead coach, also leading your own group, but now as a lead coach, you're also responsible for leading the assistants. And then a senior lead would be responsible for leading the other leads. Okay, and so now we're going to create more of a hierarchy so that we can help each other a little bit more. And again, in your discussions in June and one-on-one, we're going to discuss where you fall, right, for each of you. Okay, everyone is changing a bit in certain senses, okay, because these are all new positions. Any questions with that? All right, cool. Coach arrival, this stuff doesn't change. You're always going to be 30 minutes prior to the earliest athlete arrival time. All right, this is going to start to get a little bit more strict because I'm no longer going to be compensating separately for that time. It's just going to be an expectation of your entire pay, your entire role. Okay, so that's going to be still in place. That doesn't change. Once you guys have your own equipment, you only have to arrive 30 minutes prior to your session, the kids that you're supposed to coach, to that time. So the difference is right now, because all the equipment is with me, I have to be there 30 minutes before the earliest session. But I can carry in all the equipment by myself, so I need all of you guys to also be there with me at that time. The difference may be session times are a little bit different. Sometimes junior academy is 15 minutes later, or whatever. But that coach still has to be there earlier for now. That's going to change. You won't have to be there earlier because you're going to have your own equipment to bring to the field. So just so everyone's aware, everyone's going to be getting their own equipment, all the essentials that they need. The Tiempo van is going bye-bye, okay, at some point this summer. So everyone's going to have their own equipment and have their own responsibility. Any questions with that? Cool. Okay, I told you some of this stuff's going to be dry. Go ahead, Kano.
So it's just, for example, I don't know, Drew has junior fundamentals 15 minutes, like at 5:30, he has to arrive at 5:30 for coach arrival. I have junior academy, 15 minutes. He has his session at 6 o'clock. Kids arrive at 6. He has to arrive at 5:30. Right. For me, kids arrive at 6:15. I have to arrive at 5:45. Correct? Or I have to arrive at 5:30.
No, you got it right. Once you have your own equipment, you arrive 30 minutes before your kids are there.
Okay. Quick question on the senior level. If you're a senior coach, does that mean you have to arrive when everybody arrives?
So that's each level is going to have different responsibilities. Yeah.
Okay.
So now you're getting into more different things, but don't worry about that for now. All right, cool. Good question. Any other questions? All right, cool. Let's keep it moving. Let's keep it moving. So coach gear, everyone's getting new coach gear. All right. I'm sure you guys have seen some of the kids with their new stuff. Everyone here is also going to get outfitted. Okay. So everyone's going to get, well, I'll show you guys the full package. Not everyone is getting this. This is only going to be for lead level coaches. Okay. So lead level coaches are going to get their winter jacket, their polo, shorts, pants, a zip up hoodie, a zip up, a rain jacket, a training shirt. You have everything you need for every type of weather ever. The polo shirt here is not necessarily for training. That'll be when you go out to games. So to just stand out a little bit differently from our training gear, if you go out to games, not if, when you go out to games, because that'll be part of the responsibility for lead coaches as well, you'll have your polo to wear for them. Or if we do tournaments or our own events, we'll look a little bit more professional with the polos. Okay. All right, cool. That stuff is still being slightly finalized. So I will be sending out codes for you guys. This stuff is not cheap, it adds up, but I'm taking care of everyone's stuff. Okay, so you don't have to worry about not a dime of anything. Just be on the lookout for that stuff so you can order promptly. Okay. All right, cool. Session length, we talked about that. Okay, so I got a question for you guys. Let me see if I can present this. How do I present this? Does that work? I think that works. All right, so moving on. That was like logistics and stuff, some updates with payments and coach stuff. Any questions with that stuff before I kind of move on to really the main point of today? Any questions? Okay. All right, cool. Let's keep it moving then. So this is the part where you guys might want to just jot down some notes as we go. Okay, so we're going to take the next half hour to 40 minutes to kind of discuss some of the foundational aspects of how Tiempo became Tiempo up to this point and what we got away from and what we need to get back to as a group and where we need to all be aligned. Okay, so it's going to be a lot of more philosophy and different types of stuff, but let's do this. So the fundamental problem, why do we exist as a company? And this is not a rhetorical question, it's a question out loud for you guys to answer. So I want you to think about, why do we even exist as a company? Like, why is Tiempo a thing? Why do we have customers? There's no wrong answers, guys. This is literally a discussion. I will cold call, by the way, so just be prepared to say something.
I guess I'll go first.
Go ahead.
To help kids get better and develop soccer-wise, but not entirely that. It's more of to provide a service that no other person is doing to make kids feel comfortable and learn at the same time.
Okay, cool. Cool, I like that, yeah.
I'll add a little bit to that. We're also here to create an environment where kids are held responsible for their own attitudes, where parents can trust the coaches that they're going to be learning other stuff on the field and outside the field where they can't learn when they're in school or when they're in a team with other coaches. So that's why we are extra training. We're not a club. We're there to make sure the kids are held responsible, they get better in soccer, and they get better as a human beings.
Yeah, that's a good point. So it's different from what they get in school, and it's different from what they get in the club, right? It has to be different. So great point, Bruno. Yeah. Anyone else? And I just forgot to do something. Sorry, guys. 1 second. Okay. Anyone else want to add on to that? Okay, that's fine. So yeah, I mean, you guys pretty much hit it on the head, right? something else that I think, I know myself, probably Bruno and Keno, and probably some of you other guys may be here, but parents need another voice, right? Parents need another voice. They need someone else aside from them to kind of direct and guide them, right? Parents come from a parent perspective, and we've all done it. We've all gotten to a point where we stop listening to our parents, right? We think that they don't know much, and we're just like, okay, you're just my mom, you're just my dad, like whatever. So that's a natural, fundamental problem that exists, right? And so we're there to fill that gap. We're there to partner with the family to help this kid develop. Okay, obviously in soccer, but more than just that. Okay, so that's a big one. So just think about that whenever you're. I just want to call out Bruno real quick. Bruno does an excellent job of partnering with his parents. He's constantly, always talking with his parents, supporting them, figuring out how he can help them. And he's always there. So that's a mindset I want you guys to kind of start encompassing as you think about becoming more of a lead type of coach. Because eventually lead coaches will be responsible for parent communications and partnering with parents. Okay. So, and that'll come with time. That'll come with some training for sure. Also, speaking soccer-wise, a lot of the local clubs in this area, they don't necessarily know how to develop players, right? They don't necessarily do a good job of teaching and training players from a skills perspective, right? And it's still America, USA. We're still not the best soccer country in the world, and a lot of these kids get volunteers or parents who maybe played when they were kids, but they didn't play at any type of high level or never educated themselves on what that means. So they don't really know. And so there's a lot of those kids as well that we just get, and parents are like, wow, I didn't know this existed. Okay, so we have to be experts as well at the same time. So we have to know our stuff, right? We have to be technical craftsmen, masterminds. Okay, this is our expertise. And you guys have to look at yourselves as experts. You guys are the expert in technical skill development. There's no one better than us. Okay, you have to have that perspective and that mindset. And I promise you, we'll get better. We have a long way to go, but trust me, that you need to believe that. Okay. And the last thing I wanted to cover with this, no, you got it. That's it. Moving on. You guys got it. Moving on. All right. So really quick, I don't want to bore you guys with this too much, but I did want to just make sure that everyone's kind of understanding of why I started this. Why did this even become a thing? So I'm going to, instead of me just like kind of talking, I'm going to ask you guys to kind of just help me with this part. So give me 1 second. I'm going to have you guys read out loud. Where's Valeria? Valeria, I haven't heard your voice. So I'm going to ask you to read something out loud for the group. Give me just 1 second. She's probably like, oh crap. Where, if I could find it, where can I find it? Okay. Okay, sorry, hold on. So, all right. So this is all going to sound very story and dramatic, but Valeria, go ahead and read that.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. In 2018, a pivotal moment came to life. Coach Fernando, driven by a vision far beyond the usual, founded Tiempo. His experience in youth football revealed a glaring oversight. A broad focus on team achievements overshadowed nurturing individual talents and aspirations. Tiempo emerged from a passionate desire to recalibrate this focus, proposing a holistic model that champions personal growth alongside athletic.
Okay. Thank you, Valeria. I appreciate it. All that's saying is, this was just clearly about focusing on individual and flipping things. Everything here was about winning, 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 team, team, team. joining a club, going to a coach that doesn't know what he's doing, and just focusing on kicking the ball down the field, right? To put the ball in the net. Glaring issue, let's flip it. I don't care about winning. Let's just care about developing kids. All right? Super simple. Drew, where are you? Drew, read me with your lovely voice.
Yep. The start of Tiempo was not just about pioneering a new approach in football. It was deeply personal for Fernando, reflecting on his own journey as a young athlete with dreams of turning professional. He realized the landscape was missing something vital: mentorship and guidance to navigate the intricate path to professional sports. Be who you needed when you were younger. A mantra Fernando lives by. Encapsulates this realization. His story is not just about recognizing the role of talent in achieving professional goals. It's about understanding that as any big commitment, the foundation requires much more. Fernando's earlier experience shaped his conviction that young athletes need more than just skill. They need mentors who can impart wisdom, offer guidance, and illuminate the path to achieving their dreams.
Thank you, Drew. So I don't know if you guys have heard me say that, but be who you needed when you were younger. That's literally the quote that sums up everything at Tiempo for me. All right. So I had dreams of playing pro when I was a kid. I vividly remember when I was like maybe 10, 11. I was in the car with one of my teammates driving to like a tournament. His dad was driving. My dad was in the front seat, and me and my teammate were in the back seat. And I remember like that day or earlier in the week, I told my dad my dream. I wanted to be a professional soccer player. And in the car, I forget how it came up, but I remember my dad asking me, "Hey, why don't you tell him what you told me the other day?" And so I said it out loud. I told them, I said, I want to be a professional soccer player. And, you know, they're like, "Oh, wow, like, cool, that's awesome." Like, what, like all the supportive stuff, which is great. But the one thing looking back that I realized I didn't have was anyone that understood what that meant. Like what, I didn't know what, like, I want to be a professional soccer player. Like kids say that, but they don't know what that means, right? I didn't know what that meant. And I don't know what that means by experience, right? But I know what that means after the fact. I know what that means after studying it. I know what that means after developing near professional soccer player. Thank you, Sam. All right. Congrats to Sam, by the way. Shout out to Coach Sam making it to the Peruvian U20s national team. All right. So I'm coaching a professional athlete over here. So yeah, everyone clap. It's amazing. Amazing. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. We just got it. Yes. Yes, Coach Sam. Blogs being written about you very soon, by the way. Anyway, that was a surprise. All right. So point being, I didn't realize what that meant when I was younger, and looking back, I didn't have anyone that could like support me. Like, yeah, that's great. Let's go for it. But no one told me I needed to train every day. No one told me I needed to, you know, be very one focused and like the dedication it takes, right? All that stuff. And so looking back, that's what I want to give back. That's my give back. This is my give back project, right? And I'm lucky to be in a position where I can do that. So that's why I want you guys to not, you don't need to adopt that, right? But you need to have that understanding of why this started, right? Where did this come from? And you need to have that understanding so that when you're out there coaching, you understand, okay, what we're trying to do, right? Hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully I'm not boring anyone. We can pause that there. We don't have to go through the rest of that. All right, thank you guys for that. So let's keep that moving. All right, so what actually matters? Not a rhetorical question. Again, more of a discussion here, and I want to hear from people that I haven't heard from. Jordan, Sam, what actually matters in what we do? What actually matters? And Kano and everyone else, you guys can chime in. So I want you guys to think about what actually matters. I know it's like a very broad question, but what actually matters with what we do, guys? Juan,
let me start if nobody's going,
Go
and
for
maybe
it.
I'll give some people a few ideas. What actually matters, and this is personal, I guess every coach might have its own idea of what matters, but I think it's important that we all come to a denominator. In my opinion, what matters is creating better human beings. And every kid that you get, they will have something to improve. Most of the times, it won't be soccer related. It's going to be their focus. And this goes to learning soccer or learning any different skill that they got to learn. It might be their maturity, the way they play with other kids. Maybe this is something that they got to improve. Maybe they're bullying other kids, or they just don't know how to interact with other kids. So what matters at the end of the day is creating better human beings, because reality is most of those kids, maybe all of them, they won't go to a professional level. Most of them just won't get there. Now, I tell all my goalkeepers I'm training them to become professionals, but I'm not expecting all of them to become professionals. They can get to a good school, get a good education, become a better human being. That's what matters for me.
Thank you, Bruno.
That's
Cool. Who else kind of resonates with that?
I guess I'll go. No, I 100% agree. Even if I feel like if we develop them by not giving them so much affirmation, but also seeing what actually matters is seeing the psychology behind the child. How do they respond to certain types of levels of coaching, right? So one child can respond to yelling. One child can respond to applause. One child can respond to different ways. So for me, what actually matters is what's the reception of the child? What can they respond to? And when you know how a child reacts to how you're responding to them, then they get better, and then they interact and get better as a human being. And that's what really matters. How do you connect with the child so that they can flourish on their own themselves when they don't need you anymore?
Yeah, I love it. Cameron, you said something really important there that stood out to me. You said how we connect, right? How we connect. So this is gonna sound kind of corny, but all kids want is just a little bit of love, right? That's first and foremost. They need some connection, okay? And to get that attention and connection from someone who's not their parents is really important for kids, and you can make a lasting impact. And so for me, what like 80% of our job is about connection, right? 80% of our success is based on the connection we make with the players, right? To achieve what Bruno's saying, to make that impact, to have these people develop good people, we need to have that connection, right? Those moments, that love that we give to the kids, that's what matters. That's what's going to make the change. Okay. The other 20% is like the technical expertise, all that other stuff we were talking about before. And that's funny enough, a lot of the training will focus on some of that stuff, right? Of on the field. But today's not about that. Okay. So yeah, you guys hit it on the head. Thank you so much. Sam, why don't you read that first sentence there?
Can you hear me?
Yes, but your mic is going crazy there. Do you have it connected twice or something? Jordan, why don't you read? I don't know what Sam's doing.
Trash mic. Okay, so coaching. Wait, this right? What actually matters?
Yeah.
So coaching is a labor of love. You have to love the kids you're coaching to be effective.
Yep.
You don't know what moment you'll give to the kid that'll change their trajectory forever. Sofia Vela's example.
You don't have to read that. You don't have to.
Oh, my bad.
I'll show that. Yeah.
My bad.
So, you guys have to bring that love for your kids to sessions, right? They got to actually feel that from you, just in the way that you're doing your job, right? The way you prepare for sessions, how you lay things out. You guys may think I'm a little bit cuckoo when I lay my pennies out, when I want my cones in a certain line, when I want the balls all set up in one section, right? Because I understand that these little things is me showing love to my players, right? And they sometimes they won't realize it, they won't know it, and they don't need to. That's okay. They'll realize it in the long run. I'm okay with that. But you guys have to realize that everything you're doing is to create that environment of connection. Because once you have that connection with the players, it's very easy to impact that player. It's very easy to push that player. And like Kano said, like you were talking about like what a different player responds to, every player responds to connection. So once you connect, after that, how you coach them, it matters less, right? Because I could go curse out a kid that knows I care so much about them, and within a few minutes, they're good, they're fine, because they know why I did that. They know I have their best interest in heart, right? So how you coach matters less once you have that connection. It could be really hard, and you could, because maybe you understand that that's what the next level is sometimes, and you could show them that. But you can't show them that if you don't have that connection. It won't make an impact. They'll actually go further than you. All right, so connection is what matters. That said, I have a couple examples for you guys. Really small examples. So first one here on the left, it's Gabby Christian. All right, Gabby Christian, she's been training with me for a little while. And this was a message I got a little while back, right? Kana, why don't you read that?
Okay. Yeah. Before I do, Sam, you do have two mics on, but you have like two people on, so that's probably why you're having the mic issues. But anyways, one more thing, we love how Gabby's excelling with you. I know that your business is for her as an athlete, but please know that it's impacted her as a person overall with how she prepares for studying, chores, etc. Thank you.
All right,
And
so
Sophia Vella's on the right.
so that right there is exactly what Bruno was talking about, right? Affecting these kids as people, right? And the funny thing is, he says, I know that your business is for her as an athlete, right? That's like our marketing. That's like what people see. That's what we're gonna push. But once people get here, we need them to realize the real business that we're in, which is the second part of that message, right? Of helping these kids. Okay. So it's both. Don't get me wrong, we're here for the soccer, and that's super important. But this is the base. This is the base of what built Tampa. Okay. All right, cool. Another example, Sofia Velez. So this is in Spanish, but I'll translate. Most of us speak Spanish, so I think it's fine, but I'll translate anyway. So she sent me a message after I posted this picture on the right. So I posted this picture on the right a couple weeks back. I went to go see Sofia play. Sofia got, she didn't get to play that much that day, not because of playtime or anything like that, or the coach, but she got, I think she took an elbow or she fell, she got hit in the nose and started bleeding. And it just didn't stop. So she wasn't able to play. But I know she really wanted to play. But her mom went over there to the sideline, checked her out. She was okay. She was just kind of feeling a little bit. If you know Sophia, she's a sensitive kid, right? So I purposely put the word tough right on that post with a picture of her. And I didn't do it for the reason of, oh, I hope they see this. I did it because for me, that's what if she does see it, that's what I wanted her to take out of my impression of her, right? Because I know, like, she kind of could have gone back in the game. She really could have, but she was just, I don't know if she was scared to go back or whatever, but I was kind of encouraging her to be tough by saying that to her in a sense. And so the mom saw it, she saw it, and the mom messaged me and she said, she got emotional when she saw that you wrote tough on the post. She said, thank you very much, right? And we talked about it later, and she's like, yeah, you have no idea like how much that perked her up after the game, right? And so it's those little small things that, again, I wasn't even intending to have an impact on her like that. But when you're coming from that thought of, I need to show love to my players with the way I prepare, with how I can help them, impact them, whatever, those things come out, right? And then you get those lasting relationships. You get kids that stay for years. You get a Samantha Villavicencio that goes pro. What? Okay. So keep that in mind as we go forward, guys. Okay. All right. That being said, take some notes. Here we go. This is going to get a little bit deep here. Not deep, but just get ready to take some notes. So I've developed a whole framework for how the hell Tiempo works from like a philosophy perspective. And the foundation for anything is beliefs, all right? What you believe, it starts in here. It starts in your mind. Okay, so I have this little framework. I call it the ARM framework. This I've had before, Tiempo. This is just what I've implemented in here. So everything starts with beliefs and changes with actions, all right? So I used to have this ARM technique where I think about what actions I could take, and then your actions give you a result, and then your result gives you momentum. But before we get there, we have to start with our beliefs. So your beliefs always are going to lead into how you think. How you think is going to lead into how you actually act in the world. Your actions are going to determine your results. And depending on what actions, what results, that's going to determine your self-esteem. And that's going to create momentum in one way or another, either a positive spiral or a negative spiral. Right? I say all this, you don't need to know this part as much. I just say this because everything starts with beliefs. So with Tiempo, what the hell are our beliefs? And by the way, this is our academy framework. All right, I'm going to go back to this in a second because it's a lot. So our beliefs, these are our 3 core beliefs that everyone here needs to know. Our beliefs are, it says it on the top right. Sam, can you read now? Is she able to read? Did she leave? Hello? Sam. All right. Valeria, read the top right.
Core convictions of or fundamental truths that the Academy holds to be self-evident.
Okay, so these are things that we know are true. These things are true. All right, these are the things that I've thought to be true. So these are the 3 beliefs. Innate potential, hard work as a skill, and belief in self. Innate potential, all that means is we have to have this belief that each kid is capable and has potential that we don't know. We don't know what that is. We just know they have limitless ability. We don't know where their ceiling is, and it's not our place to tell a kid what their ceiling is. Our job is to pull out as much of that potential as possible. But each kid has a limitless amount of that potential. You have to have that belief. If you want to be an effective coach here, you have to have that belief. That is foundational belief. Each kid has limitless potential. Number 2, hard work as a skill. So talent is a thing, yes, but talent is just one part of it. You need to have the hard work that goes with it, right? I think we all know that. But hard work for me is a skill. It's something that you work on and you get better at doing hard work. So that's the second thing that you need to believe is that things don't just happen with talent. Hard work is a skill. We need that skill of working hard. We need to pass that on to our kids. And the last one, belief in self. Nothing happens unless you believe in yourself. We can't help our kids unless they believe in themselves. We need to help them believe in them. How we help them believe in them is we believe in them. I know that sounds weird, but sometimes all it takes is just one coach to believe in you for them to believe in themselves. All right, so we have these 3 foundational beliefs. These are everything. This is the stem of everything else in Tiempo. All right, so innate potential, hard work as a skill, belief in self. If you didn't write those down, I would have those written down. Innate potential, hard work as a skill, belief in self. All right. So after our beliefs here on the bottom left, our beliefs are going to indicate our values. So what do we value as an academy? What are the values that we have? These are our values. The acronym is FOPICE, F-O-P-I-C-E. If you saw the new journals that kids got, it has the values written on the back of the journals. Okay, so everyone's going to get a new journal at some point. And the back of it, it has these 6 values that we have. All right, so just know our values. family, ownership, passion, integrity, creativity, excellence. I'm not going to go too deep into them. I think they're pretty self-explanatory, but family in the sense that we got to treat these kids like our own family. We got to treat each other like our own family. We got to support each other. Okay. Ownership. I expect all you guys and I expect all my kids to take responsibility. All right. You got to own yourself. Right. Be your own owner. Passion. You need passion. You want to go somewhere with anything in life, you got to be passionate. Integrity. Don't lie. Just be honest. That's it. Creativity. We got to be willing to try new things, try new techniques. Let me try this type of session, that type of session. Teach our kids to take risks at sessions, in trainings. That's how they get better. Right? And excellence. We got to be excellent in everything we do. Simple. All right. After our values, it also indicates our philosophy. So, Sam, I see you're back on. Can you read number 3 there? What does it say for philosophy on the right? Oh my goodness, can you mute one of those things?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
It's because I can't hear you on my computer, so I connected with my audio on my phone.
Got it.
So I can't hear anything you're saying right now.
Okay, read number 3.
I don't know what you're saying. I don't know what you're saying. Oh, philosophy. How we apply beliefs, the interpretation or beliefs into thought and action.
Perfect. Okay, so now we're going to take those beliefs, right? These 3 beliefs. Now, how do we put that into more concrete thoughts and actions? So that's our philosophy. All right, we have 3 main things with our philosophy. So you're going to see a pattern. We tend to do things in 3. Well, I tend to do things in 3. Right. So we have 3 main points to our philosophy that you guys need to know. Number 1 is individual first. I'm going to go really deep into that one in just 2 seconds. Individual first. Number 2, skill over technique. Okay, for me, there's a difference. There's technique and there's skill. The difference, technique, is how you do things perfectly with the right exact, the foot placement here, the toe there, the arm here. This is the perfect technique. It's like in figure skating. They get scored based on how well they look when they jump in the air. That's great. We're going to teach perfect technique, but that doesn't matter nearly as much as skill. What is skill? Skill is the application of that technique, and skill is different for each person. I may teach one player A to do the perfect technique and they do it perfectly, but then in the game they do it completely different, but it works. I'm not going to yell at them. I'm not going to tell them you did that wrong. No, it worked. You got past the player. Keep doing that because it's working. So skill over technique. So I don't want us to get too caught up in they're not doing it exactly like that. Yeah, but is it working for them? All right. Skill is an individual thing. Technique is what we kind of feel is perfect. All right. So skill over technique, and learning through play. So as much as possible, I believe that we can use the game to be the teacher. We're just the coaches that bring about certain situations and create certain drills that recreate very specific moments that our kids need to be good in. But we need to stem all our training sessions from the game. Okay, and this, we'll get much deeper into that in later trainings and what that means, how you design sessions. Okay, individual first. I'm gonna go deep into that for a second. So individual first. Valeria, can you read this?
Yeah. We prioritize the unique journey of each athlete, focusing on their personal development and technical skills ahead of team dynamics. Our approach ensures athletes are not just a part of a collective, but stand out for their excellence, ready to thrive in any competitive setting.
Yeah, perfect. So the first part of this philosophy is we just think about the individual before the team. So they're already getting the team first type of ideas at their club. That's great. And they need that. This is a team sport. Don't get me wrong. But we're here focused on the individual. So what I mean by that is if we're at a street soccer session and I see one kid dribbling through the whole entire thing, the whole entire field, but because they don't have the confidence to do that at their team, but they're doing it here and they're developing that skill, even though the right play was to make that pass and the whole play would have been perfect if he just made that pass, but instead he took it all the way through, I'm going to applaud that and tell him why. Because he had the confidence to do what he's not doing somewhere else, right? So I'm not thinking about the team first dynamic. He'll learn that later. Yeah, I'm thinking about how this kid gets better, right? So individual before group. And then at the same time, this is the same idea, is just more on a, what we were talking about before with the connection. So we want to connect with the person before we teach the player, all right? So I'm a big believer in, you can't coach, you can only develop the player if you develop the person first. So can we connect with player? Goes back to that idea of connection. Okay. Summary. Bruno, why don't you read this one?
Individual first, at Tiempo, our core philosophy. Summary. At Tiempo, individual first embodies our dedication to nurturing not only the athlete's ability, but also their character and dreams. It's a commitment to recognizing and developing the individual's potential, both on the field and in life, ensuring they emerge as leaders, innovators, and confident individuals ready to excel in football and beyond.
Let's go. Let's go, Bruno. Bruno's voice gets me going. All right. So that's individual first, guys. So when you hear me say individual first, we're thinking of that philosophy. That's the main thing. Individuals before teams, and person before player. You got to connect with the person before you develop the player. All right, cool. So that's our philosophy. So again, the 3 parts of our philosophy you need to know: individual first, skill over technique, learning through play. Make sure you have those 3. Individual first, skill over technique, learning through play.
Do you want us writing down the specific ones underneath each?
Just know the 3. Just know the 3.
Okay.
Just know the 3. You don't need to go too deep into it, but just know the 3. If I say what's our philosophy, just know those 3. Done. Okay, cool. Now, our philosophy is going to lead to our methodology. Jordan, why don't you read methodology there in the middle, on the right?
The specific methods and techniques used in training and development.
Perfect. So now we have a philosophy, but now let's talk about what are our specific methods that we use in training. Now, this slide is very raw, and this is what we're going to talk a lot more about in future trainings. So don't get too caught up in this. You don't need to know anything on this screen right now. There's a lot of different methods that we're going to use in our trainings. All right, from squat system, we'll talk about what the squat system is, from the 20-80-20 rule, constraints-led approach, repetition without repetition. All right, all these different methods that we bring about to life through our coaching sessions. All right, cool. We'll move on from that one. Methodology 5, approach. Approach. Drew, why don't you read approach there?
The overall strategy and manner in which coaching and training are conducted.
Cool. So this is more so how we approach the training sessions. So we have our methods, meaning I'm going to try this method and this method and this method when I do my session, but how do we approach the training? So 3 main parts to how we approach our training and our coaching. Again, groups of 3. So the first one is holistic development. We're going to approach this on a holistic view. Like we've been talking about, we're developing people as well. So personal and athletic growth. That's all that means. So we're going to approach this holistically. We're going to approach this with relationship-based connection. We've talked about that. We're going to approach this with connection. So we're going to understand and empathize with our players. We're going to build relationships. And the last part of this is we're going to hold them accountable. What Bruno said earlier, holding them accountable. Right? So we're going to have high standards and we're going to hold them to those standards. That's how we're going to approach our training. We're going to approach this as a big holistic view. We're going to develop and connect, and we're going to hold them accountable. All right, to sum it up, when I say what's our approach, all you need to know is empathetic accountability. Just think empathetic accountability. All right, I'm going to empathize and build that relationship, but I'm going to hold them accountable. I'm going to be a hard ass when I need to, but I'm also going to be very understanding when I need to. Okay, so that's our approach. All right, almost getting there. Style. Kenna, why don't you read our coaching style?
Okay. So the distinctive manner or way of coaching that reflects the academy's personality and values.
Perfect. So now that we have an approach, now we can talk about our style. We have three main parts to our style. You got to know these three. To sum it up, it's really the first one. If we're going to sum it up, it's seriously fun. So why don't you think we're seriously fun? What does that mean? We're intense, we're competitive, we're going to be serious, yet we're going to be very fun and playful. This is soccer. This is kids. It's got to be fun. But we also understand that competition is fun. We want our kids to enjoy and have fun competing. So we need to teach them how to compete, right? So seriously fun. That's our coaching style. Then there's two other parts to it. There's no nonsense nurturing, or NNN, which just means holding them accountable again, but it means like when a kid starts crying on the field for a silly or no apparent reason, or they get upset for something silly, like that wasn't fair, or you didn't call it, or whatever, we don't take that nonsense. Like we don't like be like, oh no, I'm sorry. No, we don't do that, right? It's what it is. And if there's an issue, no problem. You could sit out and let me know when you're ready. You just don't take the nonsense, but we're nurturing them, right? We're not being cold or mean, or we're not taking that. No nonsense nurturing. Okay. And that I actually took from a previous job I had. So that's not my idea, right? And we'll have more discussion on that tomorrow, no nonsense nurturing, when we talk about, tomorrow's going to be more so behavior management, right? So it'll be a lot of that no nonsense nurturing stuff. And the last one is CSPP, CSPP, SFPP. I'm such a kid. Calming, supportive, patient, and positive. That's gotta be our style, right? I don't know if anyone's ever seen me yell at a kid besides Bruno, maybe. I don't know if she's thinking about what I'm thinking. But you gotta come with a calming presence, a supportive presence. You have to be very patient with kids, and you gotta always remain positive, right? This is our style. Seriously fun, no nonsense nurturing, and we're calming, supportive, patient, and positive, right? So just know that as our coaching style. Cool. All right, we're almost at the last one here, coaching style. So coaching tools now. Coaching tools. Jordan, why don't you read that last one?
The tactics and strategies used to deliver effective coaching and training within the framework.
Perfect. So now this is actual strategies and tools that we'll use that I'll teach you as we go. So we'll talk about things like coaching the positive, growth mindset, flipping success on its head, right? The Socratic method, chunking, being interested to be interesting, the drive-by method, all right? That might be more of a method. Ball rolling time, and behavior management is going to be the big one for tomorrow. All right? So we'll talk more about those coaching tools later. So this right here breaks down exactly everything that you're ever going to need to know as a Tiempo coach and where everything stems from. And a lot of our training will come from those coaching tools, right? But some of those other pieces too, okay? And we'll talk about session planning and designing and season planning and all that good stuff later on. Cool. All right, so give me 1 second. 1 second, guys. I'm sorry. I hope that wasn't too much, but okay, we're almost done. But I kind of just want to, I've been talking a lot. So I want you guys to kind of just give me a little bit of a, I guess like a temperature check of Do you feel like this isn't making sense? This is dumb, it's not important? How do you guys feel about this from 1 to 5 being like 1, no, it totally makes, no, 1 being, it doesn't make sense at all. I don't get it. I don't get why we're talking about this. I don't get how it impacts me as a coach. I don't understand how it impacts us on the field. This has nothing to do with me. Or 5 completely makes sense. I'm getting it. Or anywhere in between, like 4, like I kind of get it. I get it for the most part. Maybe I don't get it all the way, or doesn't make all the way sense. Or 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. All right, cool. Right click to change your tool. Okay, cool. So I guess if you guys had to recap a little bit at this point, Drew, why don't you tell me like which part of this framework that you feel like makes most sense to you, or is more like related to your coaching or the way you want to be or the way you want to coach, or which part of these kind of just resonates the most with you out of these 7 areas?
I mean, I'd say belief, because that's kind of the start of everything. Once you have belief, you can start branching out to different tools at your disposal to coach and to develop other human beings, other individuals, as well as athletes.
Cool. Yeah. Kano, question: How do you think this connects to our coaching, or where do you see this applying? Any of it, like take one piece of it, any of the 7, pick one, and then tell me how you think it kind of resonates to our coaching.
Can you see me?
Yep, you're good.
So I think, honestly, the style, basically the style of how we set up, how we manage the kids, how we conduct our sessions, is basically what's going to dictate not only how the kid reacts, but the feedback that the parents are going to have and the word of mouth that we're going to get from those parents to other individuals.
Okay, cool. All right, good job, guys. We'll move on. So we just got 2 last parts to get through. All right, so we didn't really talk about our mission statement. So our mission statement changed a bit. We just expanded it a bit, and we have 2 main missions. And this is all I'm going to leave you guys with, and then we're going to do a little short Kahoot quiz and call it a day. All right, so we have a dual mission. All right, everything we just talked about is taking us in a certain direction. Right, so these mission statements are the direction that we're heading as a company, that I'm taking this company. Okay, so we have a dual mission. The first part of it is for people not internal to our team, so external stakeholders. So this is stuff that'll go on marketing stuff. This is stuff that'll go out on our website. This is stuff that our parents will see, our kids will see, right? So this is our external mission for people outside of our organization. Okay, Sam, why don't you read this?
External stakeholders. Empowering young athletes to unlock their full potential and cultivate confidence, technical mastery, and growth mindset through our personalized mentorship and training approach.
Perfect. Thank you. So from that statement right there, just take a second to maybe think about what you kind of get from this. I know we kind of discussed this stuff, but where do you see this? Do you see yourself aligning with this type of mission? Like, what's our mission for you in your own words? What do you guys get out of this?
Money.
Jordan, go home. Jordan, you could leave right
Okay, okay.
now. Jordan, you can leave right now. Juan, I haven't heard from you all day long, and I know you're kind of new to the team. But why don't you kind of tell me, just in general, what you've heard so far today, and then hearing this mission statement, what do you get from this?
Well, to be honest, I feel like the vision that you have on the approach on how we're gonna approach to the kids to build I would say an attitude on them, and yeah, I feel like this approach is gonna help those kids to get to the next level and think that they can improve and go like beyond on that.
Yeah, yeah. So what I would suggest to you guys is just I'm gonna share this little presentation with you guys so you guys can review it. But yeah, that's kind of our mission here, right? So it's really about, we talked about our belief about kids have innate potential. And so our mission is to unlock that potential, right? So you see that here. We're trying to unlock that. And we need to give these kids mastery in terms of techniques and skills and all that, confidence, give them a growth mindset, and all through our personalized individual first type of approach. All right, so that's our external mission. Now, this is our internal mission. We also have people here internally, our coaches, our staff, our one day maybe investors, who knows, right? But this is our internal stakeholder mission. Okay, so Ken, I want to read this one.
Okay, so dual mission, internal stakeholders. Setting the standard in youth football development, pioneering initiative, training methodologies, fostering excellence and growth, and shaping the future through our individual first approach to holistic athlete development. What do you get from this? What's our mission in your own words?
Thank you, sir. So now internally, we have more of a mission about kind of changing the landscape, right? Pioneering new types of methodologies, new types of trainings, really developing this culture of excellence, right? And kind of shaping the future of the sport with our kids, right? Me and Bruno have talked about having our kids one day play on Olympic teams, playing overseas. Who knows, right? Who knows where this will go? But we got to start setting the standard with everything we're doing. Okay. Cool. So let's see. All right. So let's call it a day. We just have a little Kahoot quiz to maybe go over some of the things we talked about mostly with this stuff, right? So I'm going to share a little Kahoot on the screen. You guys just need a mobile device. If you are on your phone, it might get a little tricky to switch back and forth. So if you're on a computer, it's best. If not, try to do it on your phone. So give me a second. I'm going to pull this up. And before I do that, give me 1 second. Okay. So before I do that, one short little thing I want you guys to do is for my feedback. On 360 on the app, for coaches only coaches have to do this. Go ahead and send me after this call, not right now. You're gonna go send me a private message just to me, meaning just search for my name, new chat, just me, Coach Fernando, on the 360 app. And I want you to just give me feedback on what you took out of today. All right, and actually, I'll give you guys, while I set up the Kahoot, I'll give you guys just a couple minutes. It doesn't have to be long, just a few thoughts. Don't put just like 2 words, right? Put some thought. You tell me, right? I'm gonna see what you took out of this based on your response. So I just want to get some feedback of what you took out of this in general from today, and how you're going to maybe apply some of the basic ideas and philosophy behind what we're doing, and maybe what you learned. I'm going to do what I do with the kids, what you learned, what you could do better from what we talked about today, and what you're doing well already, maybe with what we kind of talked about with some of these things. So go ahead and just write a little couple sentence blurb on what you took out of today. And I want you thinking about what, what really matters. We talked about that. And we talked about the framework of our beliefs of different things. So again, what you can do to apply to your training, or how you can conduct yourself better at trainings, what you're already maybe doing well, and what did you learn today though? Is there something you picked up that you didn't really know about anything I talked about today? About me, about our story, about how the academy's designed, whatever. So give me something you're doing well, something you need to work on, and just your overall thoughts. I'm going to share this Kahoot. Give me 1 second.
And we're texting this to you individually through 360, correct?
Yes, sir. So I'll give you guys a couple more minutes so we could get out of here shortly. I see a couple responses already. Cool. I'm gonna stop sharing the screen. Oh, you guys probably hear my typing. It's my bad. And if you feel like you need more time, it's totally fine. I'll give you guys another like 2 minutes. You don't have to do it right now. I don't want you to rush it. I'll give you guys a couple more minutes.